Anyways, let's talk about Ligt and Mazraoui, right? Because those are the two signings that got announced yesterday before the game. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano, alongside as well too Aaron Wan-Bissaka leaving the club, joining West Ham for about 15 million. I was starting to get worried that neither of these deals were going to happen because we kept hearing United need to sell to buy, sell to buy, sell to buy. And at one point we were hearing this rumor that Wan-Bissaka wanted all £7 million of the money he was owed, paid up front before he would go take another deal. I don't think that's ended up happening. And it looks like United have gotten their two guys and Wan-Bissaka is out the door. To this, I say I'm very, very happy. Where do we want to start with this? Wan-Bissaka, I'll make this very brief. Great servant for the club, has been here since 2019, had his ups, had his downs. Again, good servant, pretty dependable for the most part. Great big game player to kind of call upon when you're up against a world-class winger. But I think for a variety of reasons, it was time for Wan-Bissaka to leave. First of all, I just think the way United are looking to play, I talk about the build-up issues that they have. Those are massively improved just by swapping Wan-Bissaka out and bringing Mazraoui in. I think Wan-Bissaka's issues on the ball, his awkwardness, and his ability at passing out from the back, at carrying out from the back as well too, I don't think is the level that a team that United are aspiring to be like can kind of afford to play consistently. Also, going into the last year of his deal, we don't want to lose the guy for free. Better to sell him now for as much as we can get, and we wish you the best of luck. And I think at West Ham, look, I think that's a team that you will see the best of Wan-Bissaka a lot more, because it's a team that typically tends to defend a little deeper. They don't have the ball as much as a team that United wants to have. And I think the expectation as well too will be a lot less at West Ham. I think it's a great move for him. And I think it's great from United as well too. Like I said, thank you to Wan-Bissaka. He had some amazing moments, most notably against Neymar and Mbappe, the cup final against Newcastle, against Saint-Maximin, against Doku last season. He was always a guy that against the best teams or against the big players can really give you moments. But also, I think let's not forget, Wan-Bissaka, while he is a great 1v1 defender, is not a great all-around defender. He has flaws in his defensive game that I think some people will probably see less at West Ham, but at United got exposed a whole lot more. Most notably, his focus levels, his awareness at the back post. I think he invites pressure too much when he's kind of defending, allowing players to enter his box or even allow them to win corners off his slide tackles. I think the move to West Ham will be very, very good for him. And like I said, for United to get that kind of money, I'm happy. I'm very happy. Thank you, Wan-Bissaka. His replacement, Mazraoui. Now, I'm happy with this move as well too. I think 15 million euros, potentially up to 20 million euros is good value for Mazraoui, He's an international. He's played at big clubs before. He's worked under Erik ten Hag. He should know Erik ten Hag's system better than most. I think he's very dependable on the ball, very, very able, right? I'm not going to say he's like Trent, but he's a very good passer from deep areas, good at inverting, solid 1v1 I think he's just a good player. Honestly, he's not elite. He's hardly going to set your world alight, but he's just a good footballer. Good footballing mind, good footballing fundamentals, solid defender. I think for that price, it's a great deal. Honestly, I think it's a very, very good signing. Can play on either side as well too. For Morocco previously, obviously he's a bit unlucky that Hakimi plays in this position for Morocco, but he's played at high levels for Morocco as a left back and done a very, very good job as well there too. So when you look at now the fact that we don't have a backup right back if Dalot gets injured, and the left-hand side is a massive issue in terms of Luke Shaw's fitness. Where the hell is Malacia? Is Harry Amaz fit? I think Mazraoui being able to do a job in either of those roles, either as a natural wide fullback or as a fullback that can kind of invert, do either of those roles to a very good level. I think United have kind of just signed an ultimate Swiss Army knife. It's just a great player. Like what United thought they were going to sign in Darmian a few seasons ago, I think the hope should be Mazraoui actually ends up being that version of the player they thought they were getting. And I think he can be. The injury record is a bit of a concern, right? The last few seasons at Bayern haven't been great in terms of his availability. I definitely agree with that. But I'm kind of looking in terms of if he's fit, what kind of player are we getting? I think we're getting a good footballer. A good footballer with a good footballing IQ and a very good defensive fundamentals when it comes to defending in all facets. I'm very happy with the deal. And then we look at Matthijs de Ligt, which I think is the big one kind of coming out of this, right? 45 million, I'm hearing. Had been at Bayern for a few seasons, previously at Juventus, previously at Ajax. So one thing's for sure, he has experience at playing at big clubs. He has experience dealing with big expectation. Captain of Ajax at 18 years old. One thing I've always liked about de Ligt is his mentality, his personality. The guy's a leader. The guy has a presence. You're never going to hear, or you're going to be able to hear him quite often if you're at Old Trafford screaming at his backline to move forward, come back. He's just a natural presence in your back four. Very good box defender, very aggressive front-footed defender, very, very good in the air. The guy's a big guy, physically dominant, just good defensively fundamentals, man. Like, honestly, I think Matthijs de Ligt is just a very good defender. The issue, I think, at times is he's a little too aggressive. I think he's a bit flat-footed at times. He's a bit heavy, kind of chasing back. He's not your typical ground eater like a Konate or like a Van Dijk or a Saliba. I think those guys are much better at closing down defenders, whereas de Ligt is a bit heavier. But I think he's a good player, man. And I think when you look at United, right, I said it in our tier list video. If Johnny Evans played a single game this year, I would have called it a disgrace. Because quite simply, he's our 5th choice center back, and your 5th choice center back should not be starting games. He should be like the last worst case scenario. Lo and behold, the first game he's already starting for us. That's a problem. And it's not Johnny Evans' fault. It's everybody else's fault. It was our recruitment team for not having enough depth in that position. It was our medical team for not making sure the guys in front of him stayed healthy. It was on Ten Hag for not making sure that he balanced out everyone's fitness and training, how much he was playing them. And the biggest loser of all of it, or maybe he's the biggest winner, right? Because he got to play a lot more than he was probably thinking, was Johnny Evans. But now you have Matthijs de Ligt. It's another option in defense that kind of pushes Johnny Evans back, probably allows us now to kind of make a profit on Lindelof or Maguire. And it's a guy that when he starts, I don't think United fans have to be worried anymore, right? When we see Lindelof starting with Lisandro Martinez, all of a sudden we're a little worried. If we see Johnny Evans starting, all of a sudden we're a little worried. In the past, we've seen Luke Shaw play at center back. I think with de Ligt, you have an option there that whether it's him and Euro, whether it's Euro or Lisandro, whether it's him and Lisandro, you have 3 options right there that are of high quality, of very high quality. And even Maguire, right? Maguire is a 4th choice center back. Guys, I hate to break it to you. A lot of teams could do worse than having Maguire as a 4th choice center back. That's a great option to have. So I just think it makes your defensive depth that much better. Now, I've heard a lot of people talking about, de Ligt, he got sold by Juventus because he wasn't good enough. And at Bayern, he got dropped by Eric Dyer. And it's another big club that are kind of letting him go. And United are getting their leftovers from a different club. First and foremost, right? United just finished 8th place. United are not in the Champions League. United are coming off their worst season and God knows for how long. Not every signing can be Lenny Euro. And United cannot go into the market and just bid for Rudiger or bid for the best center backs on the planet. Inevitably, they are going to have to make signings like this. Secondly, I'm sorry, chat. I watched de Ligt at Juventus. He was good at Juventus, and Juventus never got rid of de Ligt. De Ligt just wanted to leave. He left the same summer as Cristiano Ronaldo, where Juventus were finally starting to break up that core that they had, and were trying to get younger all of a sudden. I think, what year was it? 2022 or 2021? The same season Ronaldo left. If you remember, I think they brought back Allegri. Cristiano left. They were starting to try and make the team a little younger. They were trying to build around Chiesa. They brought in Vlahovic in January. They were just trying to make the whole team younger. And to do that, and to kind of rebuild their squad, they had to sell. De Ligt was one of those options. They got 70 million for de Ligt. They basically got everything that they asked for back. Does selling a player for 70 million sound like somebody who flopped? Would you go sign 70 million pounds on a guy who flopped? The reality was, Juventus were rebuilding. He wanted a new lease of life. Bayern came in, which is a great opportunity, and he went to Bayern Munich. And he spent 2 or 3 years at Bayern? I thought he was decent at all of them. I didn't think he set the world alight at Bayern Munich. Don't get it twisted, right? Like, he wasn't elite, but he was good at Bayern. And in fact, you see 60,000, was it 6,000 or 60,000 Bayern fans were trying to sign a petition to keep him at the club. And I keep seeing Eric Dyer bench de Ligt. Did he? Because I remember, chat, Bayern, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Maybe my memory is incorrect here. But I remember it being Upamecano and Kim Min-jae that were the ones dropped by Tuchel to then start de Ligt and Dyer in the big games. Whether it was against Dortmund, whether it was against Leverkusen, whether it was against Real Madrid in the Champions League, whether it was against Arsenal. Was it not de Ligt and Dyer? Why are people now all of a sudden saying that de Ligt was kicked out of the team for Dyer? I swear it was Upamecano and Kim Min-jae that got kicked out of the team, basically, for Dyer to come in. Dyer and de Ligt was the pairing since March. That's what I thought. Every time I was watching Bayern towards the end of the season under Tuchel, it was those two. So I'm a little confused where this whole narrative is that de Ligt got benched by Dyer. Where? I'm a little confused. And I actually thought de Ligt in those games, both of them to be honest, Dyer and de Ligt against Arsenal and then against Bayern Munich, against Real Madrid, I thought both of them were very, very good. So in de Ligt, right, you're signing a guy that has experience at big clubs, is a very, very good box defender, very, very good presence in the back, leader, still pretty young at 24 years old. Look, I think for 45 million, 40 million pounds, and a guy who's probably not guaranteed to start every game, he's just coming in as another option. I think it's a very, very good bit of business for United. I think United signing him and Mazraoui for around 60 million pounds, I think it's very good business. And I think it again shows that Ineos are no longer prepared to get bullied in the market by teams looking to offload their players. They're going to take their time. They're going to buy players at their own discretion. They're going to buy players at the price that they feel is correct. And they're going to get it done in their own timing. And I'm very happy with the signings so far that they've made. Lenny Yoro, I've spoken about it. I think it's a cornerstone for the club. And it's a shame that he's out for 3 months. But Lenny Yoro, for the next 5 years, you can keep him around. That's a transcendent center back in that position. Xerxes, I think as an individual is very good, but I maintain, and I think it was even proven, I don't know where he fits for United when everyone is fit. I'm very interested to see how he's deployed. But as a player, no question marks about it. He's a talented kid. And now I look at these two as well too. Good players. Not elite, hardly world-breaking, but it makes United a better team, and it makes me feel a lot more confident going into the season. The last thing that needs to be addressed for me this window is midfield. And that's where, for me, I have major question marks. And it's not even an Ineos thing, right? Because I look at all the names being linked, and I think every single one of them, I have question marks over. Ugarte, I have question marks over. Sander Berge, I have question marks over. Xavi Simons, Xavi Simons, I think, is staying at Leipzig. Zubimendi, I had questions over him. Like, the fit in United's team, I think all of them would still leave us with questions. But one thing's for sure. United cannot enter the first day outside of the transfer window without bringing in at least one midfielder. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know how they're going to fit in, but they need to add bodies to that midfield because right now it's way too featherweight, in my opinion. But as for these two, the Ligt, Mazraoui, I'm happy with both signings.